Hello there, my friend. Welcome back to another true crime conversation with me, Gavin Fish. Thank you very much for being here. It is Friday. It is the day that we do our true crime week in review. There's been so much stuff. There has been so much stuff that has happened in true crime this week. Hello there, my friend. Welcome back to another true crime conversation with me, Gavin Fish. I didn't mute the tabs. The big story of the day, of course, is Luigi Mangione, who has pleaded guilty in federal court today. But you know what? The most important thing that we have is we have a guest today that is going to join us for our conversation, as she does every Friday. Stick around and we will get this thing going. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. I think I already did the ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program. I did it out of order. It doesn't matter. You know why? Because we are welcoming our guest, our Friday standing guest, Elizabeth Jones from Hillbilly Crime. Elizabeth, welcome.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. I was telling you before we went live, I'm checked out. I'm phoning. I'm phoning life in right now, man. Kimberly and I are doing a weekend that's just us. We are going away, and I've been so looking forward to this that I just don't want to be thinking about anything else. But I'm so glad you joined me for this phone-in show. We'll call it a call-in show. We've called it in.
Yeah. And well, you deserve it. You have been working behind the scenes like nobody's business. And so you deserve it.
Well, thank you. You know better than anybody, but I'm just trying to catch up with you. You've been at this for a couple of years. Guys, if you have not seen what has been happening on my Facebook page, I went from like doing nothing and having -3 followers to having over 100,000 followers, and it's all because I was taught how to do it by Elizabeth Jones. And it's fun, but I'm tired, man. I'm tired.
It's exhausting, isn't it?
It is. But I mean, would you rather be doing anything else though?
No,
That's the thing.
nothing.
Can't complain. Can't complain.
No.
But when Kimberly and I moved out here to Western PA, one of the things that we were looking to do is to move east of the Mississippi. And tomorrow I will be west of the Mississippi, but by about 3 feet. We're going to St. Louis. We're like
Oh,
right on the western side of Mississippi. Gonna go see some old friends.
no, that'll be fun.
High school
Y'all stay
buddies,
safe. Y'all
middle
stay
school
safe.
buddies, elementary school buddies. These are people I've known my whole life. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be a trip of the trip of a lifetime.
Yes,
There you
I'm excited. I'm excited. One of them is in the air right now. He's heading in from the southwest, but we will be joining him and my other friend at her house early tomorrow morning. I'm stoked. I'm stoked. I don't know. People don't care. Why am I even talking about this? I'm just really excited.
Yeah, well, life is good right now, right?
Yeah.
Life is good.
Yeah. How about for you?
Enjoy it. It's good. Yeah. Well, we have had just devastating flooding again here in Letcher County.
Yike.
Absolutely. I and the rain is not expected to stop. Excuse me. It's supposed to rain. Alan just told me it's supposed to rain tomorrow, all the way up to like Tuesday, and then not rain on Wednesday. And so we are already at just catastrophic flooding now.
When you
So
talk about like the haulers and stuff there in Letcher County, are you guys like in little river valleys that are cut into the Appalachians? Is that what it is? So the rivers come up.
yes, big time, and it's just wiped out life as we know it.
When was the last time that happened?
Well, they had a really big flood back in the 70s that was pretty much to this level. And then they didn't have another one that I can remember again until 22. 22 was the really, really big one that just devastated all of the county and other surrounding counties. And then in 25, they had another one. Um, sorry,
That's all right.
25, they had another one. And it wasn't as big as the 22 flood, but it still did um, a lot of damage to some places. And now it's right back again. And, all of that work that people had done to try and fix everything
To rebuild.
just gone.
I didn't understand this until we moved up here to the Northeast, but, growing up in the West, where water was pretty darn scarce, um, like the ground, the earth out here is full of water, and so when just a little bit of rain comes, man, there's nowhere for it to go. And
Hmm.
I've got my sister and brother-in-law live right on, well, they call it a creek out here, but if it were back in the Sacramento Valley, it's a freaking river. It's a giant giant river. And it's our creek. It empties into the Allegheny, right? That kind of thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
their house is built up on stilts because of the flooding that happens. Sometimes their backyard is underwater.
Yeah. It's bad. We had um, real bad mudslides. The ground just gave way. It was so saturated that in different areas, just complete yards. Some people lost half of their property, just in one day because it slid off into the creek, gone.
Oh,
You know what
man.
I mean?
Are
It's
you
massive.
safe where you are?
Yeah, yeah, we're up on high ground. Me and mommy both are, and praise the Lord. Thank you,
Yeah, good.
Jesus. I mean, I got a little creek that runs right down here beside of it, and it doesn't matter as much water as it just keeps going down. It doesn't come out to the side, it just
Yeah.
keeps going down. But there's grade school right down here at the bottom of the hill, or at the mouth of my holler. And the playground was just destroyed in the 22 flood, and they just reopened it. I mean, like 2 weeks
Wow.
ago.
Wow.
Just
Ah, dang it.
yeah.
Well,
It's
I didn't think about that when again, coming from out west where, like, if you dig a well, you have to go 600 feet to get water, right? Out here, you just like stick a straw in the earth and water springs forth. But our house sits about maybe 30 or 40 feet above the highest I've ever seen the river. So
yeah,
I guess we're okay. But I've seen it come down. And it comes down fast, just a little bit of rain, then all of a sudden the rivers are just like flowing and going and
yeah,
churning.
yeah, absolutely. You're like, where did all this water come from?
Yeah,
Just all of a sudden, and that's why the flash flooding is so dangerous, because you just don't know, you don't see it coming.
yeah. Those are sad stories when you read them in the news, where, like, I don't know, a Cub Scout troop is out doing a day camp or something, and then a flash flood comes through, and oh,
Mhm.
those are the heartbreaking ones for me, where just
I
kills
want
me.
to get out and take pictures and video and stuff. But every time this happens, there's just something in me that says, keep your tail at home.
Mm, yeah, stay safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what you need? You need a drone.
A drone. You're right. I know,
Yeah,
man.
that's my favorite toy. I love it. I got one for work. So it doesn't belong to me, it belongs to work.
Yeah.
They first started with one that was like this half the size of a Volkswagen that they wanted me to fly. It required two pilots, one for the camera and one for the drone itself. And they're like, "Here, we got a really nice drone." I'm like, "Yeah, you got a nice drone. That thing could lift a cow. Why how about just a little drone, please?"
bigger the better, though, man.
That's what they thought. They thought that the more money they would spend, the better the drone. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, this thing came with two controllers, and I only got two arms. So maybe we could get a just a little small one. So we're not making films here. We're not filmmakers. We're doing local news. Really funny, but they're fun. I don't know. Have
Yeah.
you ever flown a drone?
Well, I tried whenever they first came out, but they were back then. The technology was way, way different, and like
Yeah,
I took it up once, and it crashed and broke.
yeah,
So we had it like a whole 30 seconds
yeah.
before.
My first drone was one of those they call them FPVs. There was like a racing drone that my son and I put together,
Yeah.
and like they're notoriously hard to fly. We got it up there and it was boom, done, done.
Yeah, I said I'm not wasting no more money on another drone.
That's funny. Yeah.
So,
I don't know. These new ones, I'm telling you, they're
yeah, technology's way better. I will now that,
yeah, and it
I
would
can do
be
it.
illegal to do so, and I would never encourage anybody to do it because you have to keep them line of sight. But my drone can go something like 3.5 miles away and still be connected to the.
Oh,
It's crazy what it'll do. So, hey,
interesting.
there was some movement in the case that introduced you and I, which is
Yeah,
the murder of Judge Kevin Mullins. Judge
yeah.
Mullins was gunned down, if you guys remember, in his chambers. Nobody disputes who done gunned him down. Uh, it was the sheriff of Letcher County, right where Elizabeth lives, Mickey Steins. This is a case that went through like the initial flash in the pan of news every day and movement every day. Of course, it was salacious because of. I mean, it's not every day a sheriff walks into a judge's chambers and opens fire on him, right? Uh, but then it has gone into the great silent hiatus, and we just get little drips and drabs. What has happened this week in the Mickey Steins case?
Big, big update. So the June 5th hearing, that was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
The judge just now ruled on those motions.
What were the motions in the hearing?
One was change of venue, and so that was granted. They will be moving it out of Letcher County. Will you find my phone and please bring it to me? Um, and the other one was bail. They denied bail, so
Completely, huh?
he will be held without bail. And then the other thing was that he had still not ruled on until today. So today was another big update. They have officially taken the death penalty off of the table.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a big one that wasn't really
Yeah.
talked about a whole lot.
Huh. Well,
Yeah.
I would imagine that Mickey, like, okay, you killed. I won't use the word murder because that's what they're fighting about, right? But he committed homicide, killed a sitting judge, did it on camera. I can't imagine that he thinks he's ever going to be a free man. Oh, except it was the defense that wanted it to stay in Letcher County, right? It was the opposite of what normally happens. It's usually the defense saying, hey, we can't get a fair trial. We need to go someplace else. But in this case, it was the prosecution that wanted it out of Letcher County.
Yeah. And another thing too, I forgot is that the prosecutors have come in and asked for another mental health evaluation for Mickey. And so he has granted that, And they've asked, let's see, Mickey's lawyers then asked if their expert could be present.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, where'd you find it at? Oh, I told you.
Your
So
phone
sorry.
missing?
My kid, well, he found my phone, but he'd lost a key to his scooter like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, he found it. Congrats. Nice.
He just found it where I told him it was. So sorry, I had to find out. I had to know.
Hey,
Here's
he'll
over
never
here.
grow out of that. I'm like, where are my shoes? In the closet. They're not in the closet. They're in the closet. No, I just looked in the closet. They're not in the closet. And then Kimberly goes, opens the closet, and grabs my shoes.
Yep, to the T.
Yep.
That's exactly
We
what
never grow
happens.
out of it. We're blind.
Yeah. But so the mental health, Mickey's lawyer said, asked for their expert to be present
Mm-hmm.
during this second evaluation. And so the prosecutors, of course, objected. And the judge has come out, and this is just so strange to me. He said, well, we're not going to order it. I'm not going to let him, or, I'm not going to order him, the expert, the defense's expert, be there. But if he requests to come, he can come. So I think
Oh,
it was just semantics.
okay. I sometimes think that they fight just for the sake of fighting.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh,
It's
you want this? No, I don't. I don't want you to have that kind of a thing. It's almost like a divorcing couple. Oh, oh, you want the house in Aspen? I have not been to the house, and it's always rich people, right? I have not been to the house in Aspen in 32 years, but you want it? I want the
I'm
house in Aspen.
I'm moving there tomorrow.
That's right. I was planning this all along. I feel like that's the way sometimes prosecutors' offices, and like it's very rare that you get a motion where the one party has said, "Hey, I talked to the other side and they're cool with it." It like never happens.
Yeah. So they've got 15 days to agree on where they want to move the trial.
Okay, getting back though to the competency evaluation,
Mm.
isn't this will this be like the third one?
Um,
I remember there was some
well,
argument about that in the beginning. Like the defense was like, "No, we don't care about his competency to stand trial. He is competent to stand trial. We just want to know if he was legally insane when he killed Judge
mm,
Mullins." And the court was like, "No, I want to know if he's competent to stand trial. Yana, we are not arguing that." Is kind of how the Bartleys came out about that one. So
yeah.
it's weird.
It's a very odd case. It is. It's very odd
Yeah.
all the way
What is,
around.
hold on, Robin is saying this is funny. I hardly ever look at the comments when you and I are talking because it's just so much fun to talk. But Robin, who's one of my amazing mods, goes, sometimes listening to you and Elizabeth is like hearing your parents talk and we're just nosy little kids listening in.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, put your ear to the door. It's totally cool.
Like at the end of the day, the little gossip download.
Yes. My Elizabeth, like, okay, I get easily stuck on tangents. And no, Robin, I'm not going to do this tangent theme song, but I get easily taken on tangents. My
Okay.
parents, who were like, they're still with us. They
Mm,
are, I should say they are. But thinking back to when I was a kid, there were a lot of things that they did that when I grew up and started dating Kimberly Compton and like getting serious about it, there were things about my parents that I wanted to do. Um, my parents never well, my parents one time in my entire memory had an argument in front of us. That they never, and it was never my parents in my memory never fought. They disagreed, but those disagreements would go into their bedroom, and it wasn't like, honey, bedroom now kind of thing. It was just like it just happened. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about something, and they would disagree, but then they were like, they're such a good team. And so, like, even if I put my ear to the door, I wasn't going to get anything juicy. They were just having a discussion that they were going to come to a resolution on. But by the time I grew up, I was like, dude, that is a healthy relationship. I
Yeah.
like that. The one
Oh,
fight they did get into, it was my mom was mad at my dad because my dad was letting people walk all over him. And she'd had enough of people walk all over him, and she was going to take
oh,
it out on him.
ain't that funny?
And you know what he did? Ironic, well, not so ironically, he let her walk all over her. He was just like, "Yes, dear."
Oh, do you know how blessed
Funny.
you are,
Oh,
Gavin?
dude. And
Man.
I don't know what I did in the universe or what, what I did to deserve it, but yeah, I got the absolute best parents. I did. And my folks my folks struggled with money quite a bit. Uh
Mhm.
but it was mostly, and this is just my opinion. They might disagree with this, but I think it was mostly they just didn't know how to manage it very well. They were just they were just kind of financially illiterate.
Right. Well,
And
that's a learned thing, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, and you know, again, when as we were raising our kids, that was some, you see things in the people that raise you that you like, and things that you don't like, things that you want to emulate, things that you don't. And I didn't want to be like my parents. I wanted to be like my in-laws in that way.
Mhm.
I am like my parents in that way. Kimberly, thankfully, is like her parents in that way. And so as our kids were growing up, we had financial literacy classes that we took together with our kids as they were teenagers, looking at their first job. And
Mhm.
when our oldest got married, one of the prerequisites is that her fiance needed to sit down with us over the course of, like, it was like 8 weeks. We had a meeting every whatever it was Wednesday night for 8 weeks, and we went through financial planning and financial literacy and saving, and we did she required it of him before they got married.
You see why I just adore you all, man? That is the smartest thing that anybody could ever, ever, ever do for their children.
Well,
It
I'll tell you this.
helps, you know?
Well, thank you, but I give Kimberly the credit. Let me,
Well,
again,
yeah.
listen.
Kimberly's the neck that turns the head, I'm
Oh,
sure.
sure. Well, no, Kimberly's the head. She's the
Oh, is she
neck. Oh
the head?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. Uh,
okay.
and I am so comfortable with it. I am the arms. Just tell me what to lift, right? But
Yeah.
this last month, as you know, on Facebook, I had a video full on go definitionally viral, right? 30 million views. And so I was like telling her what car we're gonna buy. I was like, all this stuff. She sat me down, like, nope, this is the process. Oh, dang it. I really wanted a jet ski. Nope, this is but a boat would be
I can see it now. Oh, Kimberly, I love you, honey.
she's the best.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
no, 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 no. We have struggled far too long to just blow this on stupidity. Yeah, she's
yeah.
amazing.
Listen, I wanted to buy a house. I've been wanting to buy a house for the last, 5 years,
Yeah.
but every time, I get to where I'm able to, now I'm able to go out. I'm I'm afraid. I'm afraid because if I do, then that's going to take all my money. It'll take
Yeah.
everything that I've got, and maybe that's not what I should do. Maybe I should just stay in this little house and stay on my couch, for the next several years until I can do more, until I do better. And even, it's just that's my journey. That's the path that God's given me, and I'm just going to have to keep working. I haven't
No,
made it yet.
there's
Work, work.
wisdom in having a runway, right?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
just holding off on things. And I think that the whole home ownership, like two cars in the garage and a picket fence out front is the traditional American dream, is the dream of the baby boom generation. Heaven love them. They're my parents and my grandparents, right? Of the greatest generation. That is their dream. And I know that there are a lot of young people right now complaining that they don't get their part of the American dream. They don't get to go out and buy the houses that they want and everything. Which to that I say, leave New York City and leave Los
Mm,
Angeles and go to Letcher County. Go to, like, you
right.
can buy four of them and you don't
Yeah.
and a helicopter to get you to the airport, you know, for less than what you think that you want to spend in Los Angeles. I mean, that Kimberly and I, we full on did that. We moved to Western Pennsylvania
Hmm.
and bought a house that
Yeah.
was 6 times bigger than any other house we've ever had for less money than
Yeah.
our starter home, like
Yeah.
25 years ago. So, yeah, anyway, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Anyway, I think that that dream is a past generation dream. You don't need to be a homeowner to be happy.
That's true. That's true.
I
You
don't
don't.
think you do.
You don't. An
Like,
RV. I might settle for an RV.
there are people that are happy, like, bus life and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want a bed. That's like all my that's all I want really is a
Yeah.
bed. Yeah,
Yes.
whatever wrapper that goes in, I'll be happy with. It'll work out.
You
My
could get a
goal is
she shed. You could get a
yeah.
she shed that has a bed in it.
Yeah.
There you
And it
go.
with as long as I can drive it around.
There you go.
It's
Yeah.
gotta have wheels.
Oh my goodness. Do it.
Uh,
Everybody can tell that I'm checked out, right? Like I'm having a conversation about on a true crime show about the opposite of true crime.
it's okay. It's Friday.
It is Friday. I hope everybody's
Yeah.
having a good Friday. Yeah.
And we true crime 24 hours a day. This is okay.
Yeah. We need a break.
Yeah.
I found an old picture of me that I posted on Facebook from like my junior year in high school
Ah, I didn't
that
see
brought
it.
back so many memories. It was black and white. And yes, color did exist when I was a kid, but we were photo nerds and so we took lots of black and white photos because apparently they didn't want to give us access to the chemicals to make color photography in high school. They only wanted to give us just a few chemicals. Uh, but why did I bring that up? Just because it's Friday. Anyway, I was just like, no, this entire weekend that is coming up is just going to be a reminiscing weekend. That we have no plans to do anything. When I suggested we do this, they're like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Nothing. I want to do nothing. I want to fly in. I want to have no plans, and we can just be three old fogies with our spouses talking about the old days. We can literally just like sit in rocking chairs on the front porch
Yeah.
and share
And relax.
memories and laugh and
Mhm.
and I'm already there. I'm already there.
Yeah. Just relax. Have you a good rest. No
Yes.
stress.
Yes, indeed. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get back to true crime. Have you followed Lindsay Clancy's case this week?
I know, but there was something else real big about the Mickey Steins case. I
Oh,
forgot to
tell me.
tell you.
Tell me. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
somebody messaged me yesterday and they were like, "Did you see what his wife posted?" And I said, "No." So it was on TikTok. So I went and looked and she put up a it was kind of like a presentation thing, had several different photographs, and then she had wrote in text on those photographs.
Yeah.
And it said, the very first one said, "What if?" And it had a question mark. And then the next one, yeah, go pull it up. Go pull it up.
Okay.
It's on
Okay. Okay.
there.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And it,
Real quick, we got to say thanks to Paula McCormick. I will have a
oh,
fun and relaxing trip. Thank you, Paula. Okay, so what is Mickey Stein's wife's name?
Caroline Steins. And so as she puts these one after the other, she doesn't put a statement. She writes what she writes, and then she puts a question mark after every single one of them. So she's not actually making a statement. She's making, right, a question. But she says, he did report it. He reported it to whoever he reported it to, and then they went and told the judge that he reported him.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
hold on. We got it right here.
go pull it up. Yep, there it
Okay,
is.
what if he reported the sexual misconduct years ago, and there are dated letters of as proof? What if there are dated letters as proof? Oh my goodness. Oh my
Keep going.
goodness.
Keep going.
What if the very people he was legally bound to report it to turned around and told the judge that he reported him? Okay, poorly
Look,
worded, but I follow. I follow.
and
What
she
if
signed
threats were
that.
made and held over his head for years? Oh, he wants this to go to trial. This is why
Keep
he
going.
wants it in Letcher County, too.
Yeah,
What if the very people he thought were trustworthy were corrupt, too? Elizabeth, this is the kind of stuff that you've been saying.
I'm telling you.
What if there was nothing he could do?
But they hate me. You make it make sense. These people hate me, and I'm the only one that's been trying to bring all this out. Not
Yeah.
one other person has tried. Not one.
What if more threats were made that caused him to not sleep for a week? What if he was threatened into a state of psychosis? What if it's a rigged system? What if none of this has been investigated to this very day? What if everyone knew? Wow. Good on Caroline Steins. There's no gag order in this case anywhere, right?
uh-uh. No, there sure ain't.
Well,
How
have you
many
talked to her?
No, they hate me, Gavin.
Why do
I
they
mean,
hate you?
you tell me because I dare talk about the case.
But I mean, Layla has talked about the case, right? Or Lila? What's her name? I can't remember.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you saw how that all turned out when she showed up at our ball game and sat
Yeah,
behind.
yeah, that turned out. Yeah, what the? Was that them pushing that though, or was it other people in the community?
Oh, it was her and all her friends, and um, they all just and her sister-in-law, Mickey's daughter-in-law, is one of the ringleaders of it. Big bullies, buddy, all of them bullies, but they play victim really, really well.
Hmm. What do you think? What do you
It
think
really
came over
reminds me of
Caroline?
what, it really reminds me of what people have said about Mickey.
Like, what do you mean?
That Mickey was all about his image, that he would go on and on and on trying to make people feel sorry for him. Like the lady that he had the affair with for 7 years, 8 years, but now they're acting like he was such a great husband and he was such a great father and all this. But
Well, I didn't know about that. He had a 8 year like affair. That's not
yeah,
an
I
affair.
talked to her. I've spoken to her. I went to school with the woman, and she was a nurse. She is a nurse. She's a travel nurse. She is a very, very well respected person in the region. She's
Yeah,
not just so. And somebody went like right after the shooting had happened. Somebody reached out to me, and they were like, "Do you know this person?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know her." And they said, "Well, you need to talk to her because that's who Mickey was having an affair with." And I was like, no way. I reached out to her and she was like, yeah, way.
she full on was.
Yeah, she just didn't want to be, named. She didn't want to be in the
Yeah,
spotlight. She had broke it off with him before this happened. Um,
but
before
can
he
you
shot.
call it an affair if you are having a relationship for 8 years? I don't
Uh,
know. I might be splitting hairs here, but that's not an affair. That is a relationship.
well, then, he was also fooling with that girl down there at the sheriff's department. You can't tell me he wasn't. When he was arrested, when he was cuffed, that woman was all over his head and she was all over him. She was just like, shut up, be quiet, don't say nothing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Remember?
Yes.
They ain't nobody sticking their hands all over a man like that unless she's sleeping with him. You know it, and so do I. If that was if some other woman came up to you and did that,
No,
why,
listen.
Kimber?
No, I was as you were saying that I was thinking, okay, say this like my long-term friend, woman friend who I've known since we were like 8 years old. If
Yeah,
she were in the room after I had done what Mickey had done, that she would not put her hands on me, and she's known me longer than my wife, right?
right.
She would not do that. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I
So,
know. So he was not this, and Sabrina Adkins, she said that Mickey taught Ben everything he knew. She said, how do you think Ben knew how to do all this stuff? He watched Mickey do it, and that's why he was handpicked. He came right out of the jail. All these people worked together for a decade before he became sheriff and the roles switched. But, you got too many people trying to do what the judge was doing.
yeah.
And, you know, eventually they don't have the same kind of golden boy status and protection as the judge did. So Ben, he was the first domino to drop. Even though he only got 6 months, he still was the first one to drop.
Yeah.
Then here comes the lawsuit, the civil lawsuit. So the next domino that was going to drop was going to be Mickey because he
Yeah.
knew about it. He was the boss, and all of these dominoes were starting to fall. And I think that Mickey saw it. And I think, just like Caroline said, he starts getting threats. One thing that people have to understand is the class difference here. You've got
Explain that. Yeah, explain it.
you've got the wealthy ones like Judge Mullins. His daddy worked for the coal mines, and was very, very wealthy, um, for here standards.
Yeah, we're not
Okay,
talking like these are the diamonds or the trumps or something like that, right? It's
you
like,
know,
okay.
but it's like their dad was the only one that was able to get some property off of that coal mine, and so
Yeah.
they've got perfect place up in Joe's Branch or whatever. And the coal mines built him because this is the town that the coal built. Jenkins is the town that coal built. That coal company came in here in like the early 1900s and built the entire
Oh,
place.
Jenkins was actually a company town,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
full on like Loretta Lynn style company town.
yes, yes,
16
yes,
tons, what do you get kind of town.
yes. We are like the original, I think. Jenkins
Wow.
is. Yeah.
Okay.
And so where was I?
We were talking about wealthy, the classes.
Oh, so Kevin Mullins, his dad worked for that coal mine as a mechanic or something like that. And so he had the mines build him this great big garage down there on their property. And so as the machines would need repairing, the coal mining machines would need repairing, they would bring them down into his garage and he would fix them and so on. And so he was a very high family stature around here. And so, like the Crafts, Mayor Kraft, James Wiley Kraft was the old mayor. Jimmy Kraft, his son, is the judge now. He's the
Hmm.
one that knew about Ben Fields and went
Oh, he was
down
the
to,
drug court guy.
yeah, 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 yeah. So they're the
Okay.
crafts. They're real high class, you know.
Yeah.
But Mickey Steins wasn't high class. Mickey Steins was poor. He was raised by his grandma. You know, he doesn't know who his daddy is, never did know who his daddy is. You know, he was not, he was from the wrong side of the tracks all his life.
Hmm.
And so
Okay.
if you think about this, Mickey had kind of moved his way into
Yeah.
the top rooms, you know, with those
Yeah.
elite, wealthy, generational power. And so I think that Mickey's getting ready to go down. You know, and I don't think that they realized what kind of uh, background that would produce with him then, you know, like it produced these results. Like I'm going to make
Oh, they like, oh, I'm going down. They
I think they
weren't.
underestimated him. Yeah, I think that they were willing to sell him down the river as the next domino to fall. And Mickey saw it. Mickey thought, you know, I'm not going to go down completely for something that you've been doing all this
Yeah.
time. You know what I
No,
mean?
that's a tale as old as time. You know, you and I have talked about this multiple times, and I've talked about it on my channel a lot. The whole, um, you know, not understanding the rules of the socioeconomic strata from which you come,
Mm,
of the socioeconomic strata other than those from which you come. You understand your own rules, but you don't understand other people's rules. And as you break into a different class, either up or down, you're going to clash, right? And the whole problem with the generational wealth versus the nouveau riche, right? Well, what's the difference between the nouveau riche and generational wealth? It's one generation. The children of the nouveau riche are generationally wealthy, and the generationally wealthy are the children of the formerly nouveau riche. But there's always, uh, that tension between them. So yeah, I can see that happening. If Mickey is a kid that came from the wrong side of the tracks, the wrong economic group, but made his way up, as he's about to fall, they're all playing by one set of rules and not understanding he's playing by another.
yep, 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 yep. And when this all fell apart, then when that betrayal hit, that his reaction to it was different.
Yes, they didn't expect it.
They did not expect it at all. And you could see that when he sat there. Mickey had that gun drawn and was standing there, and the judge just kept sitting there
Still was
like,
like,
come on, man. He
that
was
blew
so
my mind.
he thought for sure he could talk him out of that. I don't think he ever thought that bullet was going to come out of that gun.
Yeah, that blew my mind when I watched that video for the first time. I think I might still have it.
The look on his face after he was done shot the first time when he comes up from that table, when Mickey, I think he'd done been shot maybe 3 times by then. After he's shot, after he'll come back up
Yeah.
because here he comes around. Now look at the look on Judge's face when he
It's like,
comes
what
up.
is going on? Yeah.
He's like, "What the hell?" And you're dead now. I mean, Mickey didn't look. Let me. I'm gonna make sure you're gone.
Yeah. I wanted like people to see this moment real quick because uh look, if let's see if I can come back to it. I think it's in the longer video. It's not in this video. Hang on, I don't think I have it.
Watch how he kind of paces back, like bounces, like you can just see it in his body language there before he pulls the trigger the first time. It
Yeah.
like panic, like like
Yeah. Well, in the longer video before this moment, which I don't
yeah,
have queued up easily right now, but in the longer video, like he draws his weapon and holds it at his side like he's doing now.
yeah,
And that blew my mind because we understand from coverage from you and other people, Brian Ent and other people, that Judge Mullins was a guy who was known to pack. right?
Yeah.
And I looked at that and I was like, dude, actually, even before he drew it, he like full on old wested it. He put his shirt up
Yeah.
over like
Like,
he
yeah.
was gonna draw, right? Dude, if anybody does that, the fight is already on.
Yep.
It's already on. And somebody who, this is actually one of the, like, this is a bit of a tangent, but this is one of the reasons that I'm always telling people, like, if you're a carrier, if you have like a CCW and you are a person who packs, you should be a person who trains all the time.
Yep.
And if you don't, then you shouldn't be packing.
Yep.
That you should be training all the time. You should be training all sorts of different scenarios, not only just target shooting, but scenario training, right?
Yep.
Because like the moment he put his shirt up over his holster, the fight was on and the judge should have been drawing at that
He
point,
should have
and
been
he
out of that
never
chair
did.
anyway. He should have been out of that chair
Oh
anyway.
yes, stood up, ready to go. Like
You don't
I
sit. You don't sit like that when you are in a threat. You. I don't know if it's just instinct in me or if I was taught at some point in time. But any time that I feel or suspect anything, I stand up. I'm not going to sit and allow someone to get a vantage point over top of me. You
yeah,
know, you make sure that you keep your distance, you keep a good distance between somebody, and you never let somebody come up behind your back like that. Or, well,
or up
not just
above you.
back,
Yeah,
but
I think that he was just so unprepared. Like you were saying, these two men were living by different rules, and they were
yeah,
now colliding. Those different classes were now about to clash, and I think that Judge Mullins just kind of felt like that what was about to happen was not possible to happen.
yeah, because
Couldn't
he was
possibly.
Judge Mullins.
Yeah.
Because Judge Mullins, who would dare?
Yeah. Same
Well,
time though, I mean, dude, I
it gets me all nervous.
I have watched this video so many times. I've watched that video and the long one so many times where he's ordering people out and everything. Like
Yeah.
you can tell from his body language he's agitated, and there's Judge Mullins smoking on his cigarette and just, yeah, take my phone. Here you go, and trying to placate him.
And that, I think that probably made it worse. You think uh you think Mickey couldn't feel the judge's response to how
Yeah,
he was confronting him, like you were, and he knew he was
like he's a
lying.
child.
Well, and he knew he was lying. Like, whatever you're telling me, I know you're lying, and you're
Y-
just going to keep sitting there lying to my face.
Yeah. So
And
Caroline posts this. What if he had warned it all along? What if there were documented letters? That will be one of the next fights, right? The evidence that's going to be allowed in.
I'm so ashamed to admit this.
Oh, lay it on us.
I did not put that together. Uh, I saw the first slide, what if, and then I just kept reading the next one. I wasn't putting it together. What if this?
That it's
What
a
if
continuing
that? What
question.
if
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't do it? I am so glad that you did, because my
Yeah,
brain didn't do that, and I'm
yeah.
so ashamed.
What if he reported the sexual misconduct years ago? What if there are
Yeah.
dated letters as proof? What if the very people he was legally bound to report it to turned around and told the judge that he reported him? What if threats were made and held over his head for years? What if the very people he thought were trustworthy were corrupt too? What if there was nothing he could do? Well, I
Yeah.
mean, he did something. What if more threats were made that caused him not to sleep for a week? What if he was threatened into a state of psychosis? That actually is a pretty good. We did a whole thing about postpartum psychosis yesterday. I looked at filicide and postpartum psychosis and the 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 efficiency of how well that kind of defense works.
Yeah.
And it works like in at least in postpartum psychosis, it works like 43 to 46% of the time.
What was
So,
Lindsay Clancy's? I didn't even see it. I was so busy I didn't get to see.
well, the the Lindsay Clancy thing this week has been one mostly about. I think it's been beneficial for the defense mostly. They've been bringing um, witnesses forward that are all expert witnesses, right? Like the Emmy and digital forensics investigators and stuff like that. And it all looks like, yeah, she was in a state of psychosis. I think the way they chose the jury there, they're like 16 jurors, and they don't know which ones are going to be the actual jurors that go in.
Ah,
So at the end of the actual presentation, then I don't know if they pick them out of a hat, juror number one, juror number 12, juror number whatever, and then they get 12 to go back and deliberate. So that all the jurors have to pay attention. But
right.
out of the 16 people, I don't want to get this wrong, but I think it's like 12 women. Um,
He's a great defense attorney.
oh
Uh,
my
he,
goodness.
he's up on the same level as old Harpoolian, I think.
Oh yeah, he's like Alan Jackson. He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an 18-person panel and 12 are women.
Wow.
And I don't know if that I don't know if that works
Helps.
for or against the defense, right? Because
Mm,
what woman is going to understand another woman killing her children unless those women have experienced some sort of postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis themselves, or have seen it in other. But like 1 in 7, no. It was like 1 to 4% of women who have given birth experience some level of postpartum mental health crises,
mm,
right? From
mm.
the baby blues to postpartum psychosis. But those who have experienced postpartum psychosis, then it's like 1 in 7 will have it again if they have
Yeah.
another baby, right? So like it's a
It
so
increases
yeah,
the
and
risk.
and like before I didn't think I'd ever known anybody who had suffered this, but I was telling my audience yesterday, just like in June when we were back in California for our family reunion, I was having a talk with an old friend who was telling me about his mom who raised him in the aftermath of having experienced postpartum psychosis. She never fully recovered. Right. So like
Wow.
even like in my life, in like my little neighborhood with the regular little families and
Yeah.
like I, like I grew up in like Mayberry, man. Like it and now I know of at least one person that grew up in a household that was dealing with the aftermath of that, right? So I think we all know somebody.
Oh yeah, mental health, I think, or mental illness, I think, is really it, spreading. I know it's not like contagious, but it's really magnifying. I think, and it's just getting worse. And the treatment, nobody really understands it. You end up with, I think, I think the competence level of doctors has decreased as everything has went like virtual. I don't think you have the level of education um, as
I'm
good as what you used to have. So I think you have a whole lot more C student um, graduates instead of A student graduates these days,
Hmm.
you know? And so I think that in like here, everybody is counseling, 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 counseling. They're shoving all this money, federal money, counseling, counseling, counseling. But you ain't got you. You barely have people that are qualified to counsel each. Counsel us here. Like I
Yeah.
don't know.
Uh,
I
uh,
just look
I
what they
don't.
did to her. Look what they did to Lindsay. They absolutely over medicated her. They had absolutely nobody was being responsible for what they were doing to her. Look what they did to her. I think that they did it. I think that the doctors were absolutely responsible for all the medications. They should have known better on how the withdrawals, how the side effects. It takes a lot longer than just 2 weeks to come off of something. And then
Yeah.
to change her medicine so much and over prescribe so many different things on top of stuff. Like they all knew better. They knew better, and her life was just destroyed.
Well, I also, I mean, okay, so my dad is a cancer patient, and he's been fighting cancer for 6 years, and there are side effects to immunotherapy, to chemotherapy, and all the different things that they do, right?
Yeah.
But he's also a man in his late 70s who has type 2 diabetes and has low blood pressure and has all the different things that we all get as we age, right? So not
Yeah.
only does he have an oncologist, he has a, general practitioner, and he has a, the endocrinologist and all the different things, right? And I sometimes think they don't talk to each other ever. Like,
Yeah.
um, I'm sorry, sir, your blood pressure is too low to do chemotherapy. Whatever, we need more salt in your diet in order to bring your blood pressure up. Oh, but my doctor is telling me that he's concerned that I have high blood pressure, so he's cut out salt from my diet, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Lindsay Clancy was seeing different people for different things. And the other part of it, I think, coming from a layperson who has no qualifications to talk about this at all, right? But just my opinion is that um, the science of medicine is more of an art than it is a science. I think it's a trial and error kind of thing. Like I look back at the Ellen Greenberg case, right?
Mm.
So she was experiencing anxiety. She said from work. I think it was from home, but she was telling people it was from work. And she goes to a psychiatrist who prescribes her a drug. The next time she sees her, she reports what it is that has been happening to her. The psychiatrist goes, "Okay, well, we better pull off on that and let's try this." And that happens twice, so a total of 3 meetings, 2 changes, because because every biology is slightly different, so we all react slightly differently, right? So, um,
Mhm.
yeah, I guess I don't disagree. I think that there is some responsibility there. But
We learned. Oh,
my
sorry.
question is, why were the children in her care then?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. 1,000%. But we also learned through the opioid crisis 20 years ago. That's why they put in Casper. The Casper system is where they run everybody through at the pharmacy and at the doctor. They run you through for doctor shopping because people were going to different doctors getting opioids, pain
Okay,
pills. And so to stop them from getting, 10 different prescriptions of 90 oxycodone from 10 different doctors, that's why they started that Casper system. And, it was designed to catch people from doctor shopping.
right.
And so if that's what, I'm not saying that she was doctor shopping, but, even if she was, whatever, it should have been flagged. It should have
Well,
been
I don't think
flagged.
that she was. I think she was as a medical a professional. She was a labor and delivery nurse.
Well,
I think is
even
it.
at that,
I think she
it's
was going to the right places
to get help.
to get
Right.
help. Yeah, I think she
Yeah.
was being responsible. And there are probably people that really hate me for saying that out loud right now. But I think that Lindsay Clancy was trying to be responsible.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I think she was too. I don't think she was drug seeking at all. I was just saying,
Yeah, yeah. No,
whatever
that's
reason
that's a good illustration. Yeah. Very. Hmm. I don't.
it should have been flagged. That's why that system was put into place, was to stop, even accidental. You have people like you said about your dad. You got people that are cancer patients that, have that need medicine. They need treatment. Well, how do they catch if these doctors are gonna kill somebody by over medicating them?
Yeah,
That's why that system was put in place.
yeah. There is a subset of our little community that thinks that Lindsay Clancy's husband is responsible for the death of the children, and she's taking the fall for it.
I saw that and I am shocked.
I think that is the dumbest. I think people just want to come up with theories to talk about.
Yeah, like the judge and the sheriff's daughter, or a
Yeah,
li- yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's Hey, did you see the news about Luigi Mangione doing a federal deal?
No, what's he
It's not
got?
even a. It's not a plea bargain. It's a. I am guilty. He didn't
Ooh,
bargain for anything. He just threw himself on the mercy of the court and said, "I shot." Uh, why am I blanking on his name? Brian. I'm blanking. The CEO of United Healthcare, Brian,
I
whomever.
don't know.
Uh,
Yeah, sorry.
he in federal court, he did not bargain. He did not negotiate. He just went into court today and said, "I shot him. I knew that my actions would reasonably put him in fear of his safety or life." And that and I was watching Courtroom Confidential before we started. Our pal over there, blah, 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 Josh. I almost said Joel, but Josh Ritter, and his take. I wasn't able to watch the whole thing because we had ours scheduled, but his take was like, okay, what the defense is trying to do is get the state case kicked on double jeopardy.
Oh,
Like he's saying, he didn't use the word murder. He's just like, I shot him, and it was reasonable for him to be in fear for his life or safety, which is the legal definition of what he was charged with, right?
wow.
Well, so if he is now being found guilty, adjudicated guilty of murdering um,
Mm.
the United Healthcare CEO, which why am I having such a hard time with this? It's going to drive me crazy. I I don't have it in front of me, but anyway, that the state charges he can't be tried because of double jeopardy, and Josh's idea was that maybe Mangione knows he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. If he's going to be in prison, he'd rather be in a federal prison than in a state prison.
Oh yeah, hands down, 1,000%. Everybody knows that the federal prisons are much better. Um,
United Healthcare
Scott
CEO
Kirby.
Brian Thompson. There we go.
I said Scott Kirby. That's a reporter, I think.
That's funny.
Oh no, it says the CEO of United Airlines is
Oh
Scott
yeah, different
Kirby.
guy. Yeah.
I didn't have my glasses on.
You, that's funny. You know the thing about the Mangione case that has driven me crazy is that people are deifying the guy, making him into some sort of superhero for murdering an innocent guy.
And him shooting him did not help anyone
Yeah.
with their insurance
Yeah.
premiums.
No.
Did not help anyone.
No.
Mm-mm.
It just,
Nope. And
you know,
assassinating Charlie Kirk did not help anyone.
no. If anything, it it helped Charlie Kirk's side of things.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, speaking of Charlie Kirk, and I keep my channel apolitical. I have my political leanings, but I recognize that everybody does, right? I follow the lead of Dolly Parton. Democrats and Republicans buy records, right? So I stay out of it.
Yeah, me too.
But if you are a person on the left who thinks that that guy over there on the right is spewing hate, and so I'm going to kill him, if you think that's going to help your side, you're nuts.
Yep.
And vice versa, right?
Mm,
If it was the right going after the left, same thing.
absolutely. I think it's a form of mental illness. Like you've got people that they don't like some that I said something a certain way, maybe or whatever. So that to them that justifies them as a Christian to call for me to die. That I need to just die or whatever.
Yeah,
And but because I said something that they didn't agree with or that they didn't like, then that then gives them the justification. She's such a horrible person, and that gives me the right to bully her and attack her and just do
yeah,
whatever that
yeah.
they feel like they want to.
I
It's
there's a social contagion here in the United States, and I think it's spreading around the world that that people think that it is a reasonable conclusion to take somebody's life because of some disagreement they have with that person. This is why we're seeing school shootings. They're
yeah,
so angry, they can justify in their mind that they can go and just kill a bunch of innocent people because it's justifiable.
yeah, because I am more important than you are.
Yeah, it's a social illness. It really is. And those people that are cheering on Luigi Mangione and writing comments on my Facebook saying not all heroes wear capes, I just want to like not do them any harm beyond, like, I don't know. What would my mom say? Like, I'm going to tear your arms off, beat you over the head with them, and stick them in your
Yeah,
pockets. That's what I feel like.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know where my mom got that one, but it was frightening when I was a kid. You're going to tear my arms off? What?
That's kind of like the same reaction my Alan has. Like if anybody else can do anything, be whatever, and he's ready, buddy. He is prepared. He's ready. You're going to have a battle, but I can just say something to him and he'll cry. Like,
Oh,
it's
no,
like,
that
where's what?
that is the best tool that a parent has in their arsenal. The ability to hurt feelings. I'm
Yes.
I'm serious. It's like we have 5 children.
No.
Two of them, no, three of them, all the girls, let's say, are just feisty as all get out and were really hard to parent. The boys, they're just super sweet, right? And so, like, the boys, if they did something wrong, okay, we need to make them feel the wrongness of their actions so that it hurts their feelings. The wrongness of their actions, not that their parents hurt their feelings, but that their actions hurt their feelings. And then show an increase of love and buoy them back up so that they understand that they're terrific. They just made a mistake. Don't worry about it. But they've felt the feelings, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was
Disappointment.
easy with our boys. But the girls, dude, they are like heartless, soulless little creatures that were brought to this earth that we could not penetrate the shield of guilt. They were immune to it. Drove me nuts.
How is it now? How old are they? Are they older?
Uh,
Older?
so we've still got we've got a middle schooler, our youngest,
Oh,
like because we have three olders and two littles is what we call them,
okay.
right? So there's
Mhm.
almost a 10-year gap between child number three and child number four.
Yeah.
Uh, no, I mean the two older girls. I think we succeeded every once in a while, and heaven help the world. We did our best.
I love it.
They're great kids inside, but they're tough. And the youngest, she's the worst of the three.
Really?
She's the absolute best. I just love her to death. But oh my goodness, she her shell is hard. It is hard. She does not feel guilt.
So no daddy's girls, or
Oh yeah, my girls are daddy's girls for
they
sure.
are? Yeah.
But they're feisty. And we joke that we only have two recipes. We can make feisty girls and we can make sweet boys. We can't make the other. That's it. That's all we got. And yeah, and you want a feisty girl anyway, right? To
Yeah.
to be able to stand up for herself and assert herself. And then you want boys that have the ability to check themselves. So we've gotten lucky. It's dude. When our oldest turned 13, aliens removed her from the world and replaced her with a robot that was the world's worst robot. She was the worst. The worst. And it was like on her birthday, she woke up and she's like, "Well, I'm 13 now. I'm going to just be horrible." And then like on her 14th birthday, it like it turned around.
Um,
It
yeah.
oh, dude. It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
Ah, girls, boys, kids, who needs them? So funny.
Well, yeah. Somebody said to me, or I said yesterday to somebody, I was like, "Well, you know me, I'm real easy. I'm easily persuaded." And they were like, I was on the phone with three different people. We were like on a group phone call, and they were like, "What?"
Have we met you yet?
I don't know if you realize this, but you are a really strong personality. And I was like,
Is that
oh,
person on the phone call with us right now?
I was like, oh, well, I didn't. Well, I mean, I know I can be tough. Survival. It's just made me that way. But
Yeah.
I did. I don't know. I didn't think I was a real strong personality, but
Hey,
maybe I.
you remind me a little bit of my mom, and this is how I describe my mom. My mom never looks for fights, but she never backs down from one.
Yeah,
She,
yeah,
like most people will, who knew Shauna Fish in this life, will think of her as the most docile, easygoing, just happy-go-lucky person they ever met. But there are a few that have brought a fight to her, and they are sorry they did.
yeah.
That's so that's the way you are, right?
Right, honey.
That's
That's
pretty
right.
great.
I like it. Yeah.
Hey, going back to Luigi, just thinking of your conversation about the different class structures, right?
Hmm.
And not understanding, like Mickey not understanding Judge Mullins and that whole thing. Something that Josh Ritter brought up today that was so important was everybody thinks that Mangione is some like he's putting himself out there like he's some sort of victim, like he's got so much back pain and the insurance companies really abused him, and it's only because of this horrible life that he has led, this life of pain and struggle and agony, this walking this Was that Sisyphus? What is that? The pushing the boulder uphill Greek myth that he puts himself out there like that, and Josh was like, "No, this kid is a rich kid. This kid grew up rich. This kid grew up with so much privilege
He
that
was an addict, I bet you. I bet he was
I
turned
bet he
into
is."
an addict from back pain. That's exactly what went through my head. It's the first thing every addict does. Oh, my back. Because that's how you get pain medicine. There's really
Oh,
no test that they can do to see if you're really in back, if your back
no,
really
no, no, no.
hurts.
They've got a test. It's a very scientific test. They ask you on a scale from 1 to 10, how much
Yeah,
pain are you in? 10.
man, it's a 12. I did it myself, so
Look at
I
this picture
know.
of smiley faces. Are you really smiley or really frowny right now?
He was a drug addict. He was an
I bet you're
opioid
right. I didn't
addict.
even think about that. I bet you're right. But
Yeah.
either way, he lived a life of privilege. He is not a hero. He is not, this is not Batman out there saving Gotham. This is, this is a murderous scumbag that is, that has taken the life of an innocent man.
And he thought he'd get away with it. He tried to get away with it.
Yeah, because he's a dill hole. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you're an idiot. So
He
funny.
was gonna get caught because I don't think he could have kept his mouth shut. He was proud of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Mm.
No, that's like the what's his name in the Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson. What did he like told people 11 different times, "Hey, the Charlie Kirk guy that just got shot? That was me." 11 times.
That's stupid. He wanted to get caught.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Just like
Well,
Kohlberger. Kohlberger's same way. He wanted to, I think Kohlberger he wanted to be a serial killer. I think that he had aspirations of that. I think that that's what he was trying to do.
yeah. He probably wanted to do it a few times and then
Yeah.
maybe get caught and get the notoriety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he was actually interviewing other serial killers in prison
Yeah.
as a student.
Listen, um, red flag. Anybody who wants to go and talk to a serial killer, red flag. I honestly had this conversation with myself because I got all that Todd Colehep stuff, right? Then I
Yeah.
thought, I bet Colehep would talk to me. And then I just wanted to like slap myself. Like, why would you want to talk to him? It's like he has nothing to say of any value that will add to anything to
Mm-mm.
anybody's life.
He would try to play a game. It'd be fun for him. He's bored in there.
Yeah. Yeah. The only people that should be doing that are like trained FBI, whatever,
Profilers.
profilers and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. Koberger was probably that way. Mangione, I wonder if he would be one that would do it over and over and over again, too.
Well, I think it would have depended on how he felt, how it made him feel. If he got that rush that they say they get, and he
Yeah.
enjoyed that, then
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have done it again. But did he feel guilt? I don't think so. Or
Well, how he got, how he knew that Brian Thompson would be coming out of that hotel at that time?
huh,
This goes to his privilege, to his upbringing as a wealthy kid. He contacted Brian Thompson, like specifically posing as an investor. That means that he knew how to get through the gatekeepers and
yeah,
he knew how to talk the language. And he spoke with Brian Thompson and
he's
got information out of him about the conference that was coming up. Like,
that's smart.
okay, anybody that isn't privileged, I can't just call up, Warren Buffett and just talk investment.
No,
Like He would know
Yeah.
within a moment that I do not belong in this conversation, right? But Mangione was able to do it as a young man.
Yep. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's a
crazy.
perfect example of the class systems we was just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Social structures.
Yeah.
He probably grew up with that from a toddler.
Yep.
That was the only talk he and language he knew.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting stuff. Well, I've kept you on for almost an hour and a half. Thank you very
Okay.
much for the weekly wrap up. I really enjoy these shows. I hope others do too, because they're the easiest shows to do because it's fun to just chat with you. Uh,
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm gonna check out, but hey, stick on the line for a second while I do the outro and the super long outro and everything, because I want to talk about what we were talking about beforehand. Okay?
Okay,
Can you hang out for a bit?
I can.
All right, thank you very much. Guys, thanks so much to Elizabeth Jones for sticking with us, for coming on week after week. She is amazing. I love those conversations, and I love that little insight into like the Mickey Steins case. Holy cow. That's a lot going on in that case that I had just just gone right over my head. So we're going to have to start paying attention to that case again. I sure hope that you have a terrific weekend. I am planning on doing nothing over the weekend. And remember that I won't be here on Monday either. So the next time that we see each other will be at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, which is what, the 15th, 16th, the 18th. Uh, and then we will be back together again. And it will be a wonderful, wonderful time. With that, I bid you adieu, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye bye.